welcome to Myer
Realty's
Commercial
Corner.
All right.
Hello, hello.
And that's Bob Lunsford chiming in there. We're happy to be back this Wednesday. Hello, Sean and Claire. I know you guys are listening, trying to learn a little something. Hang out. You know, maybe we'll teach you
Is
something.
Sean and Claire listening? Did they say they were listening?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah,
You think so?
I think they're. Yeah.
Well,
they're
good.
Sneaking in. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, they stopped by actually the office.
We're gonna have a boat trip.
Yep. Family
Claire.
Boat trip coming up.
Claire's gonna have a baby, then we're gonna have a boat
No,
trip.
she said today she's going to have the baby on the boat.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Great.
It's going to be great. Baby on a boat. All right.
Morning sickness and seasickness.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Should we bring hot water and towels or something? What do you do when people have babies? I don't even know. Well, I guess we'll have to figure it out. We'll just wing it.
We'll figure that out. So, welcome to our...
That's it. A water birth. That's what it's a water birth, Claire.
Welcome to our show. We're happy to have you and happy to be here. We are a show that talks about commercial real estate. And if you'd like to call in, 844-790-8255. If you'd like to text, 775-237-2266. So.
And if you'd like Fred's cell number, I'll give you Fred's cell number. It's 775-745-2918. That's just in case you might want to, list a property, list a commercial property. You can call Fred or you can call Bob, too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, or just prank phone call.
Yeah.
He's into those, too.
We're available for business, that's for sure. We're open for business.
Yeah.
So we're here. Actually, we'll probably start off with Bob. Bob's got a little something he'd like to share here that he's come up with. What is it, Bob, that you have? And
Well, this is a quarterly report by actually published by NAI Alliance, one of the big commercial brokerages here in town, and they're talking about the status of the retail market. Just in this is pertaining to the first quarter of 2016. In general, the vacancy rate is gone up slightly. The net absorption has gone down slightly. Asking rates are staying about the same, and construction is about steady. So there aren't any big changes in it. The overall vacancy rate in the Reno Sparks market is increased slightly to 14.4% from 14.35% in the previous quarter, so just a very slight adjustment. It's down from the previous year in the same quarter, though, from 14.76%. The anchor space vacancy decreased to 12% in the first quarter. Inline shops increased in vacancy 17.79 from 17.51 last quarter. So inline shops, that is strip retail centers, the vacancy is 3 points higher approximately than the overall retail spaces. And one thing that, though, you have to keep in perspective, that's only quarter-to-quarter comparison. In the first quarter of 2013, actually the vacancy for inline shops started at 23, currently 17.8.
Wow.
So that's a substantial improvement. Retail centers has gone from 14.95 down to 12%.
This is from 2013 to 16.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then overall, it's gone from both inline and retail centers gone from 18.25 to currently 14.4%. So it's a significant improvement. There is still quite a bit of vacancy in this market. For example, the overall retail vacancy, there's 14,039,270 square feet, and of that, 2 million is vacant. So that's an overall vacancy rate in the Reno Sparks market of 14.4. Line shops, 57 million or 5.7 million to $1 million of that is vacant. So that's the 17.8. and the overall 20,000 or greater square feet, there's 323,000, I'm sorry, 8,320,000. Vacant is 1,831,000, so that's 12%. So basically this says that the retail market is kind of moving in the right trends. That is, the overall vacancy is going down. There is still considerable space available, so it's not a robust market yet, but it's an improving market.
You're talking retail specifically.
Retail specifically,
Okay.
yes.
Well, let me
Go ahead, Fred.
Let me ask something. So let me ask you first, Bob, and then Scott, and neither one of you can say ditto. So, Bob, first, are you bullish on our market, and if so, why?
In general, I'm bullish on the market, but all this new economic development really has not created demand yet to the point where there's a lot of new construction. There's just a minimal amount of new construction. There was one new 7,000 square foot building that was put up in this last quarter, and then the Renown Health purchased the old Lowe's property.
Boulevard.
Yeah. So really, it's not significant yet, but usually that type of development follows.
Yeah, and I
a
think
new influx, economic companies relocating, et cetera.
Yeah, and I think that we had we were overbuilt, and then we had a huge, depletion, you might say, or vacancy sweep across our marketplace, across all sectors of commercial real estate and residential, for that matter. So the absorption, had to start there, right, before we ever build.
We had a
anything.
lot of catching up to do. Is what we had.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
catching up to do.
And that probably is a good way to summarize the present market. There is a lot of catch up left.
And retail was the one that was overbuilt the most.
Right, exactly.
Was office overbuilt as well? Did I read that?
Probably second most,
Yeah,
but office
right.
also is affected. I think there's a difference in when the economics. It depends on what happens in our country and in our community with the economics and how that affects office and retail. They're somewhat related, but I think there might be a difference there, and I'm not quite sure how to.
Okay, so anyway, so you asked, so now I'm going to jump in on that.
Your turn, Scott.
Okay, so
Are you bullish, and if so, why?
I am bullish, but I have a long view. I have a short view and a long view on my bullishness. There's a long view because I do believe that all the buzzwords, the Tesla and all that stuff, and a lot of other things besides that are coming, and there's whispers of other things. I just believe that there's a lot of eyeballs on this area, and that's always it's a slow burn. It takes a long time for money to get here. First, it's eyeballs are on this area. Then ideas start happening. Then money starts to follow. Then development happens. So this is all very long view. So I think overall long view, by that for me, it means the next 10 to 15 years. I guess I'm thinking about. I think it looks very good. So because of that, I think being bullish now ahead of it, there's nothing wrong with that. It makes sense to think that way. That as long as you believe that. Over the long term, we're going to have all these new jobs. We're going to have all these new things, companies that are coming. I think it's okay to feel bullish, now as well. So that's my take.
Yeah, and I think the companies are coming. They're bringing the jobs. Some are bringing 5, 10, and 15. Some are bringing 300 and 500. Those are the ones that don't get the big light shown on them. And you get the big light shown on Teslas and switches.
Right.
So we've heard of many through EDON, going to some of the EDON meetings.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'd like to just jump in on that. I was listening to Lance talk on another radio program.
Lance who, Scott?
Lance Gilman. And he mentioned, he didn't say who it was, but this was from his lips through the radio. He said that there's something else in the works that's twice as big as it's bigger than Tesla and Switch combined. That was his words. Bigger than Tesla and Switch combined.
I don't believe him.
Well, that's what he said. I'm just passing it on.
Man.
One other point I want to make is, we talked a little bit either last week or the week before about, we just reported on the retail side of it, but the industrial side of it, I mean, the vacancy is a little closer to 5%.
Yeah, that's
overall.
industrial.
So that really reflects
cooking.
the market in terms of availability,
Right.
that sort of thing.
Well, in terms of this discussion, we'll jump right back into that in a minute. We're going to go to break. Hang in there with us.
Myer Realty.
It's going to get more exciting.
Myer Realty's Commercial Corner.
With the weather moving into summer now.
Hello.
Hello.
We are back, and we are Myer
Realty's
Commercial.
Corner.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to finish up with Bob here a little bit. He was
Bob Lunsford.
Bob Lunsford, CCIM.
Mm-hmm.
He was trailing off there on some stats and some.
Well, we just finished on our how bullish we are or semi-are, whatever, on the market, and then Bob was going to kind of just kind of sum it
Well, let me
up.
finish. Wait, hold that thought, Bob. The bullish thing, I'll finish because I'm very bullish on this market, and I think we have about a 10-year horizon. It's not over then, but I'm saying before it really, 5 years and through the next, from the 5 through to the 10, we're going to see some really exciting things, and we're going to jump into one of the possibilities that's going to help accommodate all this action that we foresee coming to Reno or Northern Nevada. So stick around because we want to touch on this very exciting development here in a few minutes. But Bob's going to touch on a couple last items here.
Just one final thing I wanted to point out. We talked about the generally lower vacancy rate as compared to the first quarter of 2013, previous quarter, fourth quarter of 2015 to first quarter of 2016. Actually, the trends were the wrong way. Vacancy was slightly up, net absorption was slightly down, asking rates were steady, and construction was steady from the previous quarter. But just within this last quarter, there were 3 large investment purchases. The first was the Ridgeview Shopping Center, sold for $33 million or $190 a square foot. The Iron Horse Shopping Center sold for $11,750,000 or $63.31 a square foot. And then the former Lowe's building was $36 a square foot. So
Whoa, that is that's
well,
kind of cheap.
purchased by Renown.
Yeah,
Health,
that was,
so-
but that was vacant for quite some time, I
Vacant,
think,
yeah.
and it's it's in an area that needs some attention on
Well,
there.
and they're going to be having to put some attention in there if they're going to do anything because it's nothing but literally a big box with a cement floor.
I'm sure they have big plans. I'm sure they're going to have,
So it wasn't a terribly exciting quarter, but there was some movement of properties, and I think as the year goes on, certainly those trends are going to continue to improve.
Well, and we can attest to that because I wanted to roll into what we do in our office and what we've been doing, and we're getting pretty busy. I'm feeling
In the Keystone building.
in the Keystone building, in the Myer commercial side of things, really both sides, but we're talking commercial here. We're starting to really get seeing a lot of folks coming in from out of town. Bob and I work on a lot of these deals together, and we're seeing fresh money come into town looking for deals, mostly from California, I think, right, Bob? Doesn't
Right.
seem-
Yeah, and I might add that we've located properties and that we wanted to present to our buyers, and before the buyers can get into town, those properties are going into escrow. So there's a lot of activity out there, a lot of buyers looking for properties, deals. The stuff that's priced right is really moving.
And you know what else? I'll just chime in. You know what else is really happening in the commercial, I guess I'll just put that whole umbrella commercial sector, is a lot of repositioning of properties. Properties that sat around for a long time, either vacant because of the downturn or just, had old businesses in them and have, died off or whatever. But there's a lot of repositioning happening. You got buildings like there's a building on Mill Street just close to downtown. It's actually a whole block there that was sold. and I noticed there it looks like a brewery's going in there. There used to be an antique mall right on the corner there.
Right.
Right
years
by the
ago.
ballpark.
Yeah, you sort of by the ballpark, yeah. And anyway, but so there's just a lot of repositioning these buildings that have really needed, some attention. So that's really a good thing because it's really changing, sort of landscape of.
Well, many of these buyers that we're working with, Fred and I, are looking for, they're looking for value-added properties. That is through
Right.
extra acreage or change the use, make additional improvements or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of that. That's a very common buyer. As buyers, sure, there's buyers out there that are looking for, just a triple net, steady, blah, blah, blah. But we have a lot of buyers out there that are just looking to reposition, looking for something that fixable problems or, like you said,
Exactly.
or repositioning them. Yeah.
Yeah. Just today, Bob was working up. We've got a guy coming into town tomorrow. Is he in a 1031? I don't think so.
No.
No. Has some cash, wants to spend. Looking at Northern Nevada, excited about our marketplace. And we pulled up about maybe 5 properties, potentials are 6.
Yes.
And of those, was it 2 or 3?
There was 3 of them actually that are 2 just went into escrow, and the other one is possibly going to go into escrow within the next few days. So
Triggers are being pulled.
right.
Yeah, exciting for everybody. It was not exciting for us to find out they were in escrow, but that means we're looking further and farther for property. We need sellers in this market. If there's any sellers listening, and you'd like to call up and chat about what you have, that's why we're here. We're really chumming for sellers. Let's be honest, guys, aren't
Yes.
we?
And-
Buyers and sellers both.
And when Fred says call up, he doesn't mean you necessarily have to call on the radio and tell everybody about it.
No,
he
no,
means
no.
call us personally, and we can actually, if you want to sit down, we can evaluate your property before anything happens, and which is what we would do, and let you know what we think you could get in the market for it. And we'd be happy to do that. Fred can give you his number and
Yep.
call.
Call us up at 775-745-2918, and we would be happy to.
Well, more than just evaluate the property, I might add, it really sort of understand your motive or the motives for selling. Understand, if you're interested in owner carry, equity swaps, whatever,
Or-
sale leasebacks, whatever creative approach you want to take, we can handle it.
Yeah, and I might chime in. Also, if you have a property, you don't necessarily want to get rid of it, maybe, but you're having problems with leases, or you need some advice as far as we can help you sort of reposition your own property, help you get it leased up, and we can advise you on that too. We can do that as well.
and get it ready for market if that's what
Sure.
you want to do.
Well, most property owners, you should always be thinking about that, getting it ready for market, right? I mean, you want a property that any given time you can.
Well,
if you need to sell it.
otherwise, if your markets or your rents are below rate, and you're not fully occupied, I mean, you're leaving money
It's
on
not-
the table
yeah, not
every
good.
month. So
Whether you're a
you
seller
need to-
or not.
whether you're a seller or not,
Right,
exactly.
right.
Uh-oh. That makes me think about a property of mine.
Take some of your own advice.
I know, I do. I need to. So let's move on. Let's move on to this. I alluded to before the break a new development here in town. It's been big news. I'm sure most of you have probably, if you're listening to this show, you're probably aware of it.
It's been on the front page of the paper, I think, 3 different times now, I think.
Yeah,
on the
this
front
week.
page.
I think in the last 5
yeah,
days.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, it's pretty crazy as far as the publicity it's getting, and it's because, well, Fred will explain to you, it's a pretty big deal.
Well, it is a huge redevelopment, development of the West. What they're calling it, the West Second District. They're saying when it's built out, it's going to be potentially a $1.2 billion. I'm looking at it like a regentrification of this area, because even though they're going to tear all the buildings down, it's a 17-acre parcel that is bordered by Arlington to the east, the river to the north.
The river to the south.
Excuse me, the river to the south, the train tracks to the north, thank you, and then The street on the east side, I think it's Ralston or one street before. But
Washington.
Is it Washington?
I believe it's
Oh,
Washington.
thank you. Washington. Yes, I think you're right. So a huge chunk of the east part of downtown, which has been neglected forever. Ever since everything was built there, nobody's done anything, I can tell you.
Yeah.
I'm over there on that end of town, and it's just been neglected like a lot of the surrounding areas.
And
around
one of the good
downtown.
things is they're taking out a bunch of weekly motels, too, at the same time,
Well,
which is...
I suppose that is good. Yes, you're right, Scott.
Yeah.
But the really good thing about it is what they're looking to bring to our marketplace. It's actually quite a lengthy article, and what they're looking to do is bring to our marketplace a mixed use of office, retail, and high-rise, and they're going to put up a 40-story high-rise.
It's going to be the tallest building in Reno.
Yeah, tallest building in Reno. So, I mean, it's...
And they're going to do 5,000 car parking garage, which is really needed downtown. There's a big parking garage that's part of the component of it.
Right, right. So it's very exciting, and we're going to need it because we have a need here. If we get all these jobs, if everything that they're talking about comes in, and we're talking about lots of jobs in the next 5 years, potentially 50,000, are we done? I was just getting started.
We are done. We're going to have to continue this, but I'll tell you, it's 2.3 million square feet of residential space. That equates to about 1,900 residential units alone. So that's a lot, and it's got 450,000 square feet of office.
We're done. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.
Hey, Dr. Phil.